at the situations where we wept. We will take delight to recollect the situations where we felt very fearful and frightened. This is how the planets help us through births and rebirths. This is not a story of 1 year or 10 years or one span of life. But the story of the bud becoming the blossom is a story of births and rebirths. The planets help us, guide us and indicate us the path. They are at our service. They give us the independence that is fit to be given to us. When your child is running into the street, when there is the servant working in the compound, what does the servant do? Does the servant respect the child and say, "Sir, are you going out?" Then if he does so, the servant knows that the child dies smashing a car in the street. So immediately the servant catches the child by the arm and pull into the house, saying, "My dear sir, go home." No doubt the relationship between the child and the servant is, it is the son of the master and the servant. We are all the sons of one master, whom we call God. And the planets are servants in the house of God. When we behave like children, it is the duty of the planets sometimes to tackle us a bit rough and harsh. Therefore, whenever we are very primitive in our behavior, whenever we are beastly in our instincts, the planets make our life predestined. Under such conditions, if you show the horoscope of such a person to an astrologer, he can clearly predict every incident that is going to happen to the fellow. Because everything is conditioned in his life and everything is predestined in his life. Therefore, the planets know what to do with the fellow. They do everything for him, but they never leave any work to him independently. In what way you are behaving with me since I came to Munich? Do you leave me at my residence and ask me to come to the lecture hall? I do not know the way to the lecture hall at all in this city. I am quite new to the place. Therefore, you are taking me in your car like a little boy and bringing me and dropping me in the lecture hall.
Und bringen mich und lassen mich in der Vortragshalle raus.
Why do you do like that? Do you think I am a child? I am a child as far as the knowledge of Munich is concerned. And if I stay here for 2 months, if I say, "Let us meet at the lecture hall," then you will accept that I would meet you in the lecture hall. Why this difference in giving me the independence? Same is the cause with the planets giving us independence of action. When we begin to grow up in our individuality and personality, the planets give us more and more freedom. Because we are beginning to tackle our own affairs. And wherever it is risky and dangerous, and wherever we behave foolish, immediately the planets interfere and condition us through our incidents of life. But the degree of conditioning becomes less and less, and the area of our independence becomes bigger and bigger. As we know how to do our own duties towards ourselves, our family, our office, and our friends' circle. And then if we begin to work for our nation, our independence will be widened. And when we begin to work with the forces of nature as a scientist, these planets will open our eye towards the secrets of nature, and then we begin to discover the secrets of nature, only to make a better use to the world. But suppose we misbehave with the knowledge we have, and we begin to make wrong use of the right scientific secrets we have, then nature puts a barrier upon us once again. The humanity goes into competition between nations, and the result is a mass scale suicide in the name of international wars. But in the eyes of the planets, it is no loss at all, because what we call death is not death at all. We are made to take another birth on the same planet Earth, and we will be given opportunity to behave better and learn more once again. This is how the planets guide us. In the first stage, they will be conditioning us very strongly, keeping us as puppets of our emotions, and making us behave in a definite and conditioned way, so that when two of us meet in the train, I give one blow to you and you give two kicks to me. So the planets can count in advance how many blows we give each other. So everything is predestined in our horoscope, as long as we are primitive in our instincts. That is what is called the individual level of existence. When I know only my individuality, when I can understand only in what way I am different from you, when I cannot understand what is in common with us both, then I am kept only as a puppet of my emotions, strong likes and dislikes, jealousies and sorrows. I have to live in suspicion, suspecting everyone around me, suspecting my colleagues in the office, suspecting my wife in the house and my children. Then I have to feel every minute that I am alone and nobody helps me, and the whole world is thankless and faithless. So I am made to create my own misery so that I feel the pain of it and begin to think in the opposite direction. How to come out of this trouble? How to be free with others? How to have a happy evening? Then in that way the planets condition us to make ourselves better. They will never make us better, but they will condition us to become better. Why? What happens if they make us better? If I come and ask you to lend me 1,000 marks, what happens if you lend me? I will eat it away and ask you once again 2,000 marks. If you do everything for me, what happens? I will sit down and complain that you have to do something more. We will go negatively in our direction and we will be beyond repair. The planets know this because they are better masters. They condition us so that we wish to be better. So when we are in the individual level, we are very careful about our money, about our house and property, about our job in the office, and everything is a competition to us, because we have to grab from the world what we want, and we force us to capture the earliest opportunity. But whenever there is a person who captures the opportunity earlier, we are disappointed and we are at a loss. But after some time we begin to understand that the other person also has the same wants as we have. When we ask him, I have to eat. When we are traveling, on the way there is only one fruit to the tree, and the journey was in a big forest where there was no food for days together. There is only one fruit to the tree. 10 people are traveling. When I put my hand on the fruit, immediately the other 9 people also put their hand upon the fruit. The result is the fruit is there and no one can take it. This is what we respectfully call the international strategic situation.
Das ist, was wir
But always the result is we go home with hunger. But what happens when we cut the fruit and divide it among the 9 people? They ask us to eat first. Because as long as we are distributing, the people ask us to eat first because you have to distribute. Because you have to distribute. So gradually we begin to learn lessons in our life. I understand your difficulties and you will understand my difficulties. And we begin to develop virtues. This is what is called the ending of the individual level and the beginning of the personality level. So the egg of individuality will be broken and the chick comes out to find a bigger egg between heaven and earth, which we call personality. We have to practice charity, consideration, human feelings,
Rücksicht.
and tolerance. But we practice these virtues only to market them. We become better only to market our virtues. Whenever others ask you why you are behaving sincerely, why you are speaking truth, why you are faithful to others, my answer is, I too want that they should be faithful to me. This is the only use I know about virtues at first. This is called the commercial value of virtues. This is the second stage through which we have to pass. During that period, the planets will give us some independence. We are made to enjoy the confidence of others, and we will be elected to responsible positions. We will be made the leader sometimes. What does this mean? Does this mean the planets have rewarded us? In one sense it is true. We received the reward of our virtues. But in a higher sense it is not true. When we begin to grow to the next step, we understand that whatever is bestowed upon us as favor is only a test of our temptation, and it is only for us to know our position. When I am closing my eyes before God and meditating, a young couple comes to me and says, Swamiji, we want a child. Suppose I give them some holy water or some holy ash on the face. Within 13 months, they have a son, as beautiful as full moon. And they come to me, Swamiji, we have a son. Does that mean it is true? In a sense, it is true. But when we go higher and try to understand the fact, they came to us 13 months before they had a child. That is the truth of it. It is not our giving holy water or holy ash, but the pure scientific truth is that they approached us to have a child 13 months before they could have a child. So we can understand the fact in the either way. The incident in our life is not for them but for us. Every good deed we do to the world is not for the usefulness of the world, but it is for the purification of our intentions and tendencies. Because if we were not there and if we were not ready to do the good deed, some other fellow would have done better. That is always the truth of life. And since nature gives us a chance to do the same good deed, we have to scientifically understand very carefully it is an opportunity to us to purify our vehicles and our emotions. Why? By doing a good deed. So the virtues are understood in a different sense afterwards. In the first stage, the virtues are only for marketing, so that we begin to misbehave whenever we are strong. Whenever we feel strong, we understand that there is no necessity to be virtuous once again. Then we do some faulty things, and then we receive the pain once again. This is how our life goes in the second stage. It is called the stage of personality development. It is a life of mutual values, and in the language of Buddha, it is a beautiful garden of flowers, where every flower showers its fragrance upon you, and you are permitted to go around the garden. But the moment you place your finger on the flower, Buddha says that there is a little serpent under the flower. And the moment you touch the flower, the serpent gives its sting. That is how Buddha represents it. It is the planetary stage of personality development. We receive many thousands of stings from many thousands of little serpents. That is, we misunderstand many responsibilities as privileges. And every time we penalize ourselves.
Strafen wir uns.
During that period, the planets are working not as fate makers, but as police officers of our city. They begin to respect us whenever we behave respectfully with them. And sometimes we can make good friendship with some police officers also. And while going home, they smile at us and shake hands and say Danke.
Und schüttelt uns die Hand und sagt Dank.
But tomorrow, once again, I misbehave because I have my friend as the police officer, and I will be taken to the court. In the court of law, the same police officer who is my friend comes there and sits there and disposes of the penalty, and he makes the law upon me. Then I grow angry with him. See, last night he met me and shook hands with me, and he himself said donkey. Now he behaves as if he does not know me. That is how the planets behave with us.
Nehmen sich
When we are passing through the stage of personality development. But we come to a stage when we meet many hundreds of police officers, and after some time we see these police officers retired. We call them a retired officer. So when we pass from the personality level to the soul consciousness, we find every officer, a retired officer, enjoying great leisure, coming with us to spiritual gatherings, spending as much time as possible with us, and reciting the gospel with us. This is because they are retired officers. They no more try to punish us. Not that because they are retired, but for the fact that we never misbehave. Because we know only responsibilities, and we understand that privileges are false. We no more have confidence or greatness, because we believe only in goodness. We do not believe in something valuable. We believe only in something which is useful. A change has taken place. All the acidity in the fruit is changed into the sweetness. The fruit is ripe. The planets work as helpers and guides. They indicate what we have to do directly to our mind. They lead us to situations where we have to behave independently, because they find everything safe with us. They leave us to ourselves, and they honor our decision. That is the stage which the planets expect of us. At that stage, our horoscope never reads our incidents at all. If we make a birth map of such a fellow and try to predict him saying after 7 years you are going to have a throat cancer, he smiles. A throat cancer. Then he smiles. And after 7 years he once again greets you, how are you? Then we ask him, have you no throat cancer? Not at all. Because in the horoscope of any person, the planets never give the malediction, you should have throat cancer. The planets indicate that there is a weakness in your throat, a weak spot in your throat. Unless your habits of food and drink are pure, that weak spot is going to give way, and you may have the chain broken at that particular link. But the gentleman is not going to pull the chain to such an extent at all. He eats according to the need of the body. He responds to his friends and relatives according to the need, and not at all according to desire. We have desires and needs mixed and confused in our life. But the person who has gone to the soul consciousness, he knows immediately the difference between needs and desires. Needs are to the body, either of himself or others. Desires belong to the mind. In fact, there are no needs to the mind at all. The need of food is to the body, though the taste of food is to the mind. But food is not eaten for the taste, but to sustain the body. A man who has crossed the personality level and reached the soul level will understand the difference between desires and needs. Picks up needs, picks up and does not take notice at all of the desires. He will never fight the desires out. If we want to fight our desires, we have to think of our desires, and we have to make a friendship with the desires. It will never give us a solution. It will worsen the case. If I am having uncontrollable outbursts of anger, if I want to get rid of my anger, what happens when I close my eyes and meditate that I should be free from my anger? I am only meditating upon anger instead of meditating upon God. So, what is the result of meditating upon a negative quantity? After some time, I will be angry towards anger. I feel very restless that my anger has not gone. So, the man of soul consciousness knows the positive way of doing things, and he never touches the negative aspect of his personality. He is occupied with the needs, either of himself or of others. And gradually he enters into a consciousness which we call pure love. Then he has no desires at all, because he never desired to get rid of his desires. This is the way how the planets train us. Then you will find even Saturn a very good fellow. And you will find even Mars smiling with you. Previously you know that Mars will shoot with a gun, or Mars will throw a bomb. And previously you know that Saturn will find faults with you. And he is always overcritical with you, always criticizing you behind your back and scandalizing about you with your friends. Now the same Saturn approaches you and says, "My dear boy, don't think that I am a bad fellow. It is only to bring you to this state of maturity that we had to enact a big drama, and we are very happy that a creator is made on the background of the creator." In the language of Lord Buddha, the earth becomes, the earth feels the joy indicated by the hair standing upon its skin.
Amen.
When there is great joy, we find that the hair stands upon our skin. In the same way, the planet Earth, you will find its hair stand upon its skin and breathes the breath of fragrance of all the flowers whenever there is the birth of a savior. And the earth very much wishes that his feet touches the ground. That is what Lord Buddha says about the third birth of every one of us. Of course, we always take only the second birth and many times die before the third birth takes place, and it is only after thousands and thousands of rebirths we take the third birth, the birth into the true love nature, which the great people say the soul consciousness. So Saturn greets you and says, see how my hair stand up on my skin. He is no more dangerous in your horoscope. But if an ordinary astrologer looks into your horoscope, he says, now Saturn is coming to your birth moon. Yes. There will be a conjunction of progressed moon and progressed Saturn on the birth moon. Something very dangerous, something very tedious. At the same time, the progressed moon is coming into conjunction with the transiting Saturn. So it will never go in life at all. It will never dissolve in our life, because transiting Saturn goes at the rate of 30 years a cycle, and progressed moon in our horoscope goes at the same rate of speed. So that when the transit